Jinder Mahal, once the proud WWE Champion and known as the Modern Day Maharaja, has just pulled off a move that's shaking the foundations of the wrestling world. After being quietly sidelined by WWE, Mahal has taken control of his own legacy in a way no one saw coming. Could this be the beginning of a revolution in how wrestlers manage their careers?
I'm standing here with the Modern Day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal. How was that?
You know what? I'm actually down one Singh brother right now, and if
Jinder Mahal, born as Raj Desi in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, wasn't always the globally recognized WWE superstar we know today. Growing up in a Canadian Punjabi family, Mahal was deeply influenced by his heritage and the wrestling legacy of his uncle, Gama Singh, who was a well-known wrestler in the 1980s. Mahal's journey into the world of professional wrestling was far from easy. He had to navigate the challenges of being an ethnic minority in a predominantly white sport. But his determination and love for wrestling kept him going. When Mahal first entered WWE in 2010, he was cast in a stereotypical role, often paired with other Indian wrestlers in storylines that didn't really go anywhere. His early years were marked by struggles, both in terms of character development and in-ring success. However, in 2016, Mahal underwent a significant transformation. He reinvented himself physically and mentally, returning to WWE with a more muscular physique and a renewed focus. This change didn't go unnoticed, and soon after, WWE began to push Mahal as a serious contender. The real turning point in his career came when he adopted the persona of the Modern Day Maharaja. Drawing from his Punjabi roots and infusing elements of Indian royalty, Mahal crafted a character that was both unique and intimidating. His promos were laced with arrogance and confidence, and his in-ring presence grew more dominant. This persona resonated with WWE's global audience, especially with fans in India, a market WWE was keen on expanding into. In 2017, Mahal shocked the world when he captured the WWE Championship by defeating Randy Orton at Backlash. This victory was monumental, not just for Mahal, but for WWE as well. It marked the first time a wrestler of Indian descent had held the prestigious title, and it catapulted Mahal into the spotlight. His reign as champion was met with mixed reactions, but there was no denying the impact he had. He brought attention to WWE's efforts to diversify its roster and reach new markets. During this peak period, Mahal became a household name, and his influence extended beyond the ring, inspiring many young wrestlers from similar backgrounds to pursue their dreams. Despite his success, the wrestling business is unpredictable, and Mahal's career trajectory took an unexpected turn in the following years. As revealed during his candid interview on Chris Jericho's podcast, Talk is Jericho, Mahal discussed a phase in his career where things started to feel off. Although he was still under contract with WWE, he noticed that his role was shifting. WWE had quietly begun transitioning him from an active wrestler to a managerial role, without formally communicating this change to him. For about 2 years leading up to his release, Mahal found himself in a strange limbo. He was no longer booked in high-profile matches or involved in significant storylines. Instead, he was managing the tag team Indus Sher, a role that didn't align with his aspirations. Mahal expressed his frustrations during the podcast, explaining how he had pitched multiple storylines and matches to WWE's creative team, only to be met with silence or rejection. He wasn't listed as an active performer on WWE's internal roster sheets, a discovery that hit him hard. The realization that WWE had essentially retired him without his consent or even informing him officially was a bitter pill to swallow.
Coming up on today's After News, Jinder Mahal shoots on WWE Experience.
Mahal's reflections during the interview were filled with a sense of resignation, but also understanding. He acknowledged that his character had grown stale, and that the company might have wanted to focus on newer talent. Yet, the manner in which the transition was handled left much to be desired. Mahal admitted that while he was disappointed, he wasn't entirely surprised by WWE's decision, noting that the wrestling industry is constantly evolving, and sometimes even the biggest stars can find themselves on the sidelines. The most shocking part of Mahal's story, however, was how WWE effectively pulled the plug on his career without giving him any notice. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that the job you've devoted years of your life to has quietly slipped away from you, without a single conversation or formal announcement. That's exactly what happened to Jinder Mahal. During his interview with Chris Jericho, Mahal recounted how he discovered his name had been removed from the active roster list. It was a gut-wrenching moment, one that signaled the end of an era without any fanfare or recognition. WWE's decision to quietly transition Mahal into a managerial role came as a blow, especially considering his status as a former WWE Champion. He had been actively pitching ideas for his return to in-ring competition, but those pitches fell on deaf ears. Instead, WWE had other plans for him, and those plans didn't involve him wrestling. Instead, he was assigned to manage Indus Sher, a promising tag team, but a role that didn't fulfill Mahal's passion for wrestling. Mahal's last run in WWE was marked by missed opportunities and unfulfilled potential. He had hoped to elevate Indus Sher to new heights, but without the experience of live event matches and with limited TV exposure, the team never fully realized its potential. Mahal expressed his regret over these lost chances, especially since he knew that the live event circuit was where wrestlers truly honed their craft. Despite the frustrations, Mahal maintained a positive outlook, acknowledging that while WWE's decision stung, he understood the business rationale behind it. But the way it was handled left a lot to be desired, and for fans of the Modern Day Maharaja, it was a disappointing end to a chapter that once held so much promise. Jinder Mahal, or Raj Desi, as he's known outside the ring, didn't just accept the hand he was dealt by WWE. Instead, he took a proactive approach to secure his legacy. You see, while WWE might have had control over the Jinder Mahal name, they overlooked something crucial: the Maharaja title. Mahal, always thinking ahead, recognized this gap and moved swiftly to secure the trademark for Maharaja outside of WWE. This move was more than just a business decision. It was a way for him to maintain his identity and brand, even after his ties with WWE were cut.
But I really think it's important for WWE to do another tryout in India, maybe have a performance center in India, then truly another bloodline.
In his interview with Chris Jericho on Talk is Jericho, Mahal revealed that he had been using the Maharaja title long before WWE ever thought to trademark it. He said, "I started using Maharaja in all my promos, and I noticed WWE didn't register it as a trademark. So I thought, why not patent it myself? That way, I can do anything with it." This clever move means that even though WWE might own the name Jinder Mahal, Mahal himself owns the title that truly defined his persona, the Modern Day Maharaja. This ownership gives Mahal a unique edge as he moves forward in his career. He can now use the Maharaja brand in any way he sees fit, whether it's in wrestling, merchandising, or other ventures. It's a brilliant strategy that not only secures his legacy, but also keeps his options wide open for the future. "I can have my merchandising, any product or any line," Mahal explained. "I can be the Maharaja all the time, and I think that now it is in a way synonymous with myself." By securing the rights to his most iconic title, Mahal has ensured that he remains in control of his brand, no matter where his career takes him next. Mahal's departure from WWE and his decision to go public with the details of how his exit was handled is bound to have ripple effects across the wrestling world. For WWE, the revelation that they quietly sidelined a former WWE champion without any formal communication isn't a great look. It raises questions about how the company handles its talent, especially those who have given years of their lives to the business. Mahal's story could make other wrestlers more cautious and aware of the need to protect their own interests, just as he did with the Maharaja trademark. This situation also highlights a growing trend in the wrestling industry, where performers are seeking more autonomy over their personas and brands. Mahal's savvy move to secure his own trademark is a clear signal to other wrestlers that it's possible to take control of their careers, even in an industry as traditionally rigid as professional wrestling. It could lead to a shift where more wrestlers start to trademark their catchphrases, nicknames, or even their ring names to maintain control over their identities outside of WWE.
So anyway, on with the interview. Jinder Mahal, how have you been? Like this time last year?
For WWE, this could create a more complex relationship with its talent. If more wrestlers follow Mahal's example, WWE might find itself having to navigate a landscape where it doesn't have complete control over its stars' identities. This could lead to changes in how WWE approaches contracts and branding, perhaps tightening its grip on trademarks, or conversely, offering more freedom to its performers to retain talent. As for Mahal's future, the possibilities are endless. With the Maharaja brand firmly in his grasp, he could easily make a splash in other promotions like AEW or Impact Wrestling, where he could continue to build on the legacy he started in WWE. His experience and the story he has to tell would make him an intriguing addition to any roster. And with the wrestling world watching closely, his next move could set the stage for a new chapter in his career. One where he's not just a wrestler, but a brand unto himself. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.